Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to Christ Church, Dartmouth. My name is Kyle, and I'm the minister here. We have a jam-packed evening, so I won't talk too long. The evening will be music, carols, and a few readings. And a warm welcome to John Lindsay Botten, director and creator of the East Coast Caroling Company. We're blessed to have them here this evening. They're very well known in the city. And I also want to thank Tessa Short, our music director and leader here at Christ Church, for helping organize this event. And as we begin, As we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are in the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. As I said, this is a sing-along in some parts, and your leaflet here should have all the lyrics. Please enjoy the show.
Ding dong, belly on high, sin. We want a little money to thine it well within. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too, and God bless you and send you a happy new year, and God send you a happy new year. God bless the master of this house, likewise the mistress too, and all the little children that round the table go. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too, and God bless you and send you a happy new year, and God send you a happy new year. Good master and good mistress, while you're sitting by the fire, pray think of us poor children who wander in the mire. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too, and God bless you and send you a happy new year, and God send you a happy new year.
Thank you very much. It's time now to open up your programs for a bit, which are really just lyric sheets, if you will. We're going to sing a few verses of The First Noel, accompanied by Joey at piano. Thank you.
Free
Our first reading this evening is called The First Winter, and it's written by Billy Budge, and it's found in an Atlantic Canadian Christmas Reader. In Memoirs of a Lightkeeper's Son, Billy Budge tells the remarkable story of moving with his family in 1955 to the rugged and lonely St. Paul Island off northern Cape Breton, where his father became the lighthouse keeper. In this captivating passage, Billy recalls their first Christmas on St. Paul Island. It was only a few days before Christmas. I were as excited as kids everywhere at that time of year. Ina was too young to comprehend what had just happened on the northeast, and I soon forgot it. My parents appeared to be filled with the spirit of the season, though the recent tragedy must have weighed heavily on their minds. Their hearts ached for Mrs. Gatz, who would endure her grief through this time of year. There would not even be a funeral to provide a closure to her husband's life. With the attitude that life must go on, my parents put the matter to rest and began to prepare for Christmas. 2 days before Christmas, Dad picked up the axe, and I followed him down the trail toward the landing in search of a suitable tree. It was easy to find a Christmas tree on St. Paul Island. Small fir trees grew in abundance. Selecting one with the proper shape from the dense clusters of new growth was a little more difficult. Eventually, we returned home with a tree that made my mother proud. This would be our first Christmas on the island, and the only Christmas we would enjoy the company of neighbors from the wireless station at Atlantic Cove. Decorating was done according to family tradition. Dad put up the tree the afternoon of Christmas Eve, and Mom trimmed it in the evening. Ina and I were both anxious to help, but I sensed that Mother would rather be left alone. Often she would hold an ornament in her hand for the longest time before placing it on the tree. The decorations seemed to speak to her in distant voices, echoing through time from Christmases past. Many were gifts from friends or relatives whom she would not see this year. She wondered where they were now. If only they could drop by for tea. This is the only time I recall noticing my mother's loneliness. While my mother, wistfully remembering livelier times, finished decorating the tree, Dad looked for something to brighten the spirit. He tuned the radio to CJCB in Sydney, where the DJ was playing Christmas music all the time. When we knew the words, we all joined in with the songs on the radio. The singing seemed to bring us together. We helped Mother place the last few bells on the tree and went to bed to await the arrival of Santa Claus. Christmas morning of 1955 arrived with all of nature's fury. Snow had begun falling during the night. The wind had come up, and by dawn it had hit gale force. Howling winds swept over and around our unsheltered home, making an eerie sound more reminiscent of Halloween than Christmas. The snow had so reduced the visibility that we could barely see the ocean beneath the cliff. Little snow was accumulating on the ground. The wind was sweeping it horizontally past the station and out to sea. This was the first snowstorm of the winter and a taste of things to come. Ina and I cared little about the weather outside. It was Christmas and time to check under the tree. Maybe we worried the weather was a little too much for old St. Nick. There was the chance that he missed our home, standing alone on this rock in the ocean. Our fears were unfounded. Mom had made certain that Christmas on St. Paul Island would be no different than anywhere else. We opened our gifts with the excitements of kids everywhere. Soon the wrapping and gifts were strewn all over the floor. With great appreciation for what we had received, we helped Mom clean up the mess. And then everyone went to breakfast. The gift that I had looked forward to receiving the most turned out to be a major disappointment. I had asked my parents for a Meccano, or an erector set containing numerous strips of pre-drilled metal and scores of nuts and bolts to build various projects. When my mother ordered the set, she noticed that they were numbered in series all the way up to 10. She ordered set number 1, thinking she was making the correct decision. When I attempted to build one of the projects in the book, half the necessary parts were not there. It was then that we noticed that I required the previous set, number 0, without which none of the projects could be completed. After I drooled over the book containing all the fine machines that I couldn't build, Mom put it away until the missing set could be acquired. Boxing Day dawned bright and sunny. We rushed outside to see how much snow had fallen. Dad took the tractor out of the garage and decided that we would all go down to the wireless station and visit with the Cairns. The snow was quite deep on portions of the trail, causing the tractor to spin its wheels while climbing up some steeper hills. The view from the bluff was spectacular. Fresh fallen snow had drifted in swirls around the large boulders and formed gentle slopes against the low trees. A continuous white sheet covered the sparse vegetation of the slope, stretching beneath us, extending all the way to the ocean. Only the granite rocks at the winter's edge were bare, the restless surf having licked away the snow there. The sky was a brilliant blue, and the sun's rays danced across a glistening silver sea. The whiteness of the distant mountains on the mainland gave proof that the people of northern Cape Breton had shared our snowstorm. This magnificent scene from God's own hand was for our eyes only.
Jolly happy soul, with a corncob pipe
any of these selections, please don't hesitate to add your voice to this wonderful space we're in. Dun, dun, dun.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing and bushels of fun. Now jingle all has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime in jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing, jingle bells sway. In the frosty air, what bright time is the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle in a jingling beat. That's the jingle bell rock. What a bright time is the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle in a jingling beat. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. This'll go home where you can see every couple tries to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling. You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly and deck the halls and bells of holly rocking around the Christmas tree. Have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can see every couple tries to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and some East Coast caroling. You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly and deck the halls and bells of holly rocking around the Christmas tree. Have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Rocking around the Christmas tree.
We'll open up and sing a couple of carols back to back. After Joy to the World, we'll sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare those of you may remember us from a time 7 weeks ago near the end of October when we were singing along with many different things here. We have another ghostish story for you next. Thank you, Father Kyle.
A Christmas Carol, the tail ending of it. His hat was off before he opened the door, his comforter too. He was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock. "Hello," growled Scrooge, in his accustomed voice, as near as he could feign it. "What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?" "I'm very sorry, sir," said Bob. "I am behind my time." "You are?" repeated Scrooge. "Yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please." "It's only once a year, sir," pleaded Bob, appearing from the tank. "It shall not be repeated. It was making rather merry yesterday, sir." "Now, I'll tell you what, my friend," said Scrooge. "I am not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore," he continued, leaping from his stool and giving Bob such a dig in the waistcoat that he staggered back into the tank again, "and therefore I am about to raise your salary." Bob trembled and got a little nearer to the ruler. He had a momentary idea of knocking Scrooge down with it, holding him and calling to the people in the court for help and a straight waistcoat. "A Merry Christmas, Bob," said Scrooge with an earnestness that could not be mistaken as he clapped him on the back. "A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, that I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob. Make up the fires and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit." Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became a good friend, as good a master and as good a man as the good old city knew, and any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alliteration in him, but he let them laugh and little heeded him. For he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good at which some people did not have their fill of laughter in the outset. And knowing that such as these would be blind anyway, he thought it quite as well that they should wrinkle up their eyes in grins as have the malady in less attractive forms. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived up the total abstinence principle ever afterwards, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, boiling the dead, tearing the tale. bells of good cheer, Christmas is here. Ding, merry, merry, merry Christmas. Ding, merry, merry, merry Christmas. Ding, dong, ding, ding, ding. Dong, all of those sweet silver bells all seem to say, all cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and bold. Ding dong, that is their song, which will ring all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they will raise Angels we have heard high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous songs prolong? What a gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song. Gloria in excelsis Gloria in excelsis Come to Bethlehem and see him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee, Christ our Lord, our newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Gloria in excelsis
I think it's time for you to join us now. Before we sing O Come All Ye Faithful, let us sing O Little Town of Bethlehem, found on page 5 in your booklet.
Silence was
this next carol, we should stand as we are able. Consider it our 7th inning stretch. Please be seated. Before Father Kyle gives us his next story, I'd just like to point out this beautiful sweater he's wearing. Happy birthday, Joe. It says in the bottom, in case you didn't know. Admire it on your way. Thank you.
Thank you, John. This last reading is from an Island Christmas reader, and it is called The Christmas Orange, and it is written by David Wheel. Perhaps the greatest difference between Christmas today and Christmas years ago is that back then, people were poor. Not that they aren't poor today, but then everyone was poor, or almost everyone. It wasn't a grinding, end-of-the-rope kind of poverty. Most everyone had enough food to eat and warm clothes to wear. The woodshed was filled with wood, the cellar with potatoes and carrots, and the pickle barrel with herring or pork. There were strings of dried apples hanging from the attic rafters, and a carcass of frozen beef hanging in the shed. In many ways, it was an era of plenty. So you might say that rural islanders weren't poor, they just didn't have much money. What strikes me forcibly when I speak to some older people is that the scarcity of money made it possible to receive very great pleasure from simple, inexpensive things. I know, for example, that for many children, an orange, a simple orange, was a Christmas miracle. It was the perfect golden ball of legend and fairy tale which appeared, as if by magic, on December 25th. In that drab, homespun world of gray and brown, it shone mightily like a small sun. And according to one ancient legend, an anonymous benefactor dropped gold coins down the chimney of a poor family, and they accidentally fell into a stocking which was hanging near the hearth. The Christmas orange of later centuries was said to represent the gold in the toe of that stocking. The orange was kind of an incarnation of Christmas itself, and for many islanders, the most vivid, evocative memory of the blessed season is the memory of an orange on Christmas morning. One woman from a large family in Morel said that at her home you were fortunate if you received a whole orange for yourself. She recalled some lean years when she received only half an orange, but she was happy for it. For children who ate oatmeal porridge for breakfast virtually every day of their lives and had molasses on bread most days in their school lunch, for children who looked at fried potatoes almost every evening for supper and considered turnip scraps a special evening snack, for these children, an orange was a marvel, something almost too wonderful and prized to be eaten, an exotic, sensuous wonder. One woman confessed that she kept her orange for a week after Christmas, kept it in a drawer. Several times a day she would go to her hiding place and take out the orange just to fondle it and smell it and to anticipate joyously the pleasure which was to come. Eventually it had to be eaten, deliberately, unhurriedly, ceremoniously, and gratefully, piece by piece, and finally the peeling. It was all eaten, and it was all good. And all that remained was the hope that there would be another Christmas, and if God would be so kind, another orange.
King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel, when a poor man came in sight, gathering winter fuel. Hither, page, and stand by me, if thou know'st it telling, yonder peasant, who is he, where and what is dwelling?
Sire, he lives a goodly Kent, underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence, by St. Agnes' fountain.
Bring me flesh and bring me wine, bring me pine logs hither. Thou and I will see him dine, when we bear them thither. Page and monarch, for fame
steps, my good page, tread thou in them boldly. Thou shalt find the winter's rage, freeze thy blood less coldly. In his master's steps he trod, where the snow lay dinted. It was in the very sod which the saint had printed. Therefore, Christian men, be sure, wealth and rank possessing, ye who now will bless the poor, shall yourselves find blessing. It is now the time to ask for the request of a favorite Christmas song from the youngest person here. Who would be the youngest person? You, sir. No, sorry. Are one of you two the youngest person here? How old are you, may I ask? 4? 8? You're 8 years old. Is there a favorite Christmas song that you haven't heard yet that you'd like to hear? No. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's ask the oldest person here what they would like to hear. Who would be the... No hands are going up right away. I'll tell you what. If somebody were to raise their hand, if you are over 60 years old, please raise your hand. You can close your eyes if you like. That's fine. If you are over 70, please raise your hand. If you're over 75, 78, 80, 1, 2. All right, it looks like you two sitting side by side. If you are 83, no, 82, 80, 81 and a half, 83, all right. We have a winner, everybody, we have a winner. What Christmas song, hopefully in our book, would you like to hear tonight? Adeste Fidelis, which we sang in English as "O Come All Ye Faithful." Do you want to hear it in Latin then? Yeah. All right, Latin number 25. Keeping us on our toes is this, Young Woman at Heart. All right. Our next selection, you'll be able to sing along with every so often, I'm sure. Sorry about that. All right. On the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. On the third day of Christmas, my true love sent to me
sixth day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings. 4 calling birds, 3 fanning hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings. 4 calling birds, 3 fanning hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 10 lords a living, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear
Justin Amador as well. And thank you once again to Daniel and Farrah. It's time for our next, actually last, sing-along of the event. Your words for verses 1 and 2 are found in your song sheet. We have a couple of acknowledgments to make. Thank you to, first off, to Tessa and to Father Kyle and everyone who helped put this together here at Christ Church, Dartmouth. Please give them a round of applause as well. And I think next we'll just do a couple of songs to end our night together. This first one was from a movie that, well, it didn't catch on right away, but it was also sung by Judy Garland from Meet Me in St. Louis.
Christmas future.
rests and safe drives on your way home. And may you keep a little light of what we've been singing about tonight with you for the rest of this season. God bless. Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now,
Tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for
Christmas and a Happy New Year.
we wish you a Merry
Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Take care and good night.